Hey, Ready Up Live, Microsoft hooked me up with ReCore to show you guys what it's like. Now, a lot of people have been very excited for this game. There's some serious talents that have worked on it. And right away, I'm going to say I think it lives up to the hype. I had so much fun with this game. I haven't even beaten it yet. I've been working on it. But it is the first Xbox Play Anywhere title. You can play it on both your Xbox One and PC, and it just works. So I started on Xbox, and then I switched over to PC, and then I switched back to Xbox, then I switched back again, and it just loads your save. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and this is really what Microsoft is pushing for moving forward. So in this game, you are Joel. You wake up from a slumber, and things have gone awry, to put it simply. You have your trusty robot companions. You have these things called cores that power these bots, and a lot of them have just turned sour. And as you progress through the story and you pick up audio logs and such, and you find out what is going on, and that's really the idea of this. It is very much an exploration game. It really scratches that Zelda itch that I always have, honestly. Zelda, Metroid-esque games where you'll see things very early in the game, for instance, walls, doors, things like that, that you can't tackle, you can't go through, you can't climb, etc. And you know that at some point you will unlock an upgrade. Maybe it's a new core bot, maybe it's a new something like that, maybe it's gonna be a higher level, and then you'll be able to get past it. For the first hour or two, depending how quick you go through the game, it felt a little linear, which is interesting. It really guides you on this path. I mean, you don't necessarily need to take it, but you pretty much have to, in the sense of there's not much to explore right away. But as you take the first linear path and start exploring and start unlocking more core bots, the game really opens up. It just gave me these flashbacks to Zelda, to Ocarina of Time, and just seeing this massive field and not knowing where to go, and getting from point A to point B taking forever. You have the B button ability, which is your thrust ability. You can double jump and B, and those are your core movement mechanics. You can also climb up ledges, you'll see me doing here. You can use B pretty much constantly, but it doesn't last very long. It's a little charge. So getting from point A to point B once you get to these huge sprawling areas is honestly difficult. But that's interesting about it, is that it forces you to just experience this massive area. And in this massive area, there's many of them. There's this huge map. You'll run into enemies that are even, they have a skull on them. Very Borderlands-y, very almost typical MMO-y, that you can't even harm. They are way too big, and you keep your eye on them. You remember where they are, and you come back later, and you want to come take them down. So you start with your initial core bot. His name's Mac. He's your little trusty doggo buddy. He's a cool little dude. And they don't always look like this. You can fully customize them to however you want. Step one is finding new parts. There are new legs, bodies, heads, and augments. Once you find the blueprints for these parts, you have to actually build them. And you can find these objects scattered around the environment by taking down bad guys. And there's two ways to do that. You can either yank their core out, which is the interesting kill mechanic, by clicking the right thumbstick in. Once they're low enough health, once they're past a certain area, you can have a little fun tug-of-war game to yank their core out. And that'll give you the ability to upgrade your core bot's abilities more. You can give them more attack power and such. Or if you destroy them, they will drop materials to build the items you want to make. Different core bots have different abilities. You can only bring 2 core bots with you at a time, so choose wisely. Mac can dig in the sand and find you some cool stuff. Seth can help you climb special grates and fling you around. Duncan can smash stuff. Deciding who to bring along with you is very important. And it's funny because you'll get attached to one and you'll upgrade him and it'll be a cool color and you'll like what he looks like, but he just won't be the one for the task. Just like the movement, the gunplay is very basic yet refined. You have a main primary fire option, but if you hold down the right bumper, you charge up a shot. Depending on how long you charge it up determines how strong said power shot is. Not too long into the game, you'll unlock every different color for your weapon, and you just change those with your D-pad. If you match the color of the enemy you're fighting with your weapon color, you'll do extra damage. So when you're surrounded by different color enemies, switching between colors and fighting them is actually a pretty fun mechanic. I've seen someone else online say they haven't had much problem with this game. I don't know if they leaked it or something. I've died quite a bit. It's more that you get caught off guard. It's not necessarily a very, very difficult game. but it's not easy by any means. It doesn't hold your hand too much, which I like. It just lets you explore. It lets you learn how to fight. The main differences between the Xbox and PC version are obviously graphics. And the one point I had here, this is the difference in graphics right here. I only played 20 minutes at the start on the Xbox before switching over when I even remembered that I had it on PC. I was actually, well, I had it downloaded on Xbox, and then I downloaded it on PC after, so I was just living with it. But the game looks really, really awesome on PC. Load times are way faster, significantly faster, as to be expected from a PC title. The game really starts picking up, as I kind of mentioned before, a couple hours into the game. I'm about 6.5 hours in. The game really starts picking up. You get these open areas. You get more core bots. You get way more customization options for your core bots. You can get them to look real funky. And you start learning how to make combos, how to dodge, which is necessary because you'll get enemies that will start ganging up on you and taking you down way quicker than you expect. And you get locked into an ability of theirs. You get shocked or something, you gotta waggle out. And you start losing health real quick. Now, platforming, I think, is crucial to this game, and I'm glad to see, though not very heavily advertised, there's quite a bit of it. Scattered around the map, there are dungeons, a la Zelda, which you need a certain amount of prismatic cores to get into. These are these special diamond white cores you can find. They're around the map. You can find them in special containers. You can find them by beating dungeons. You can find them by killing bosses, etc. The more you have, the more challenging dungeons you can enter. However, obviously, these dungeons have recommended levels. If you are too low of a level, you may not even be able to kill the enemies inside. But it's cool, there's some dungeons I don't even realize. I totally forget and I rock by them and I just leave them there and then I come back later and I go in and I take them on. Some of them are very jump heavy, some of them are very battle heavy. There are usually 3 goals to complete in a dungeon: a time limit, finding a yellow key, and shooting all 8 switches. If you do all of these in one run, you unlock the turbo chest at the end. There are 3 doors that open. Each one contains either a chest containing new blueprints to upgrade your doggo or your other core bots, more prismatic cores, etc. Let me show you the full Cavern Rush. Now, this is a dungeon very early in the game. It is very jump puzzle heavy. You see secondary objectives on the top right: time limit, yellow key, switches. This is very common for dungeons. If you can collect all of them, do all of those secondary objectives in one go, you'll unlock the turbo chest in the middle at the end of the room. So this is not my first attempt. This is like my 7th, 8th. I would get to the end at 0 seconds. I would get everything, or I would somehow miss a switch. It happened over and over and over again until I just started remembering what I was missing. Luckily, at the end, it shows you kind of the general area where you missed a switch. So you see you gotta shoot the switches with the right color. This is early in the game, so I only had red and white. Shot that guy down, got the yellow key, continue the jump puzzles. Again, as I was saying, you have a double jump and a thrust. It took me many, many tries in this to get used to how that functions, to look down enough to know where to land, to be able to shoot switches and safely land. It's pretty frustrating when you miss a jump and you fall down. It doesn't mean it's not over. I'm trying to recall right now in this run if I do fall, but I did many a time. As you keep going, dungeons get less and less forgiving. There's a lot of arena dungeons, where you are thrown into a little coliseum, which is essentially one room, and wave after wave of enemies are thrown at you. There are switches all over this room, which doesn't seem inherently hard, but sometimes there'll be one last switch hidden behind like a rock that you never notice because you're too busy fighting. And if you're not constantly fighting, telling your core bot to attack and just charging up and just going at it, you won't beat the time limit. So between all of that, getting the key, etc., it's tricky. It was nice to see a little variety in these, and there you go. See, I did fall, but I do complete this. Spoiler alert, I do beat this in time. So again, this one is a little more forgiving, and you can see I got my red doggo here. Achievement for that, by the way, getting all of one type for a core bot. But being able to do these double jumps, time them correctly. You can even let go of your B, of your thrust at a certain time, and learn when to drop that. That's kind of a really important skill here and there. And using it a lot, especially in these time limit jump puzzles, knowing to just boost as much as possible, skip over things. You don't need to touch every platform. It took me quite a few tries to even think of that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna very carefully do single hop to platform, to platform, to platform, until I started getting fed up with it and just went, no, man, I'm just gonna fly across. I'm gonna jump right across and skip everything. So you can see I got 8 out of 8, got my 1 yellow key, got 17 seconds to spare, and you get to the end of the dungeon and these doors start opening. That is the time limit dungeon. Says how much dungeon time limit door. You have the key door, and you have the switches door. So you can see one of those will be red, and it won't open. So you'll know, say it was the third switch you didn't get. And if you get them all in one run, as I said, this middle chest opens. So let's take a look at what we have in here. The first chest. Kick it open. Zelda style. Throwback. Love it. We got a blueprint. Handy dandy. Get some cool stuff for my core bots. These circular containers contain a gorgeous prismatic core. And again, these are used for opening up more and more difficult dungeons. I only have 7 top right there. That's that symbol as of this video. Green bare bones. And those are called bare bones because that is the type of armor you have there. There are multiple types of armor. One last kick for the middle one. This was interesting. I got crow head. This is a very cool looking head. So the middle thing, the hard thing, is what you want. And of course, even if you just beat the dungeon, you get to the end, you don't complete any secondary objective, there is 1 prismatic core at the end. So just getting to the end of a dungeon is enough to get 1 prismatic core and advance. But I recommend when you play this game, just go for it. You're in a dungeon, beat it. And that's not to say you necessarily can. I went to a dungeon where I couldn't right away because I needed to get a new core bot, and I still haven't done it. I got to go back and use that core bot to find 2 last switches. In summary, I am all for this game. I'm having an absolute blast. The people who I know are playing are also having an absolute blast with this. Do not sleep on this one. Absolutely check it out. I don't think it's necessarily a very long game. I'm getting close to the end, and I've now logged 6.5 hours on the game. I just got to finish out some dungeons and such. So I'm going to say 8 to 12 hours to complete the game for most people. It's awesome, though. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from it. I'm enjoying the characters. I'm really enjoying the customization of the core bots is really fun. The exploration's really fun. The dungeons are a blast. There's some dungeons that the amount of times I've reached the end, I've completed every objective except time, and I reached the very end at 0 seconds, and it was just not close enough, so I had to do it over and over and over. So frustrating, but so awesome. There needs to be that difficulty there, that replayability in that sense, being able to just master each area. Very important, very fun. I'm loving the game so far, so I highly recommend you check this game out, and it's not even a full price game normally. I believe it's $40 USD-ish around there, which is crazy, which is really, really cool. And I'm wondering if they did that just because it's, you know, such this new title and they just want to try something a little different. But it's very exciting for people on a budget. I highly recommend it if you are getting into that Zelda type feel. ReCore, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this mini review thing here, hit the like button, subscribe for more stuff. See you guys next video.